Hello, it's me again. And now it's time to do power ranking. I'm sat here with Twitch chat. We're doing important things. We've spent the last 8 weeks now doing every single Overwatch League team. I've had some time to stew on the beta. I've had some time to look at other people's thoughts and opinions. I have been cashing in a bit of my scrim bucks. I've been looking at the scrim stock exchange, thinking who is going to be the best team this year. We're going to find out. So, it's power rankings time. It is simply just power rankings time. And to obviously the people that don't do Overwatch League, just bear with me, okay? Because you're going to hear about this a lot over the next few months. I'm very excited about it. So, for all of you that are watching this, okay, and those that don't know, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do an NA, so a Western regions tier list. I'm then going to do an Eastern region. I'm going to do an APAC tier list. Let's say tier list, I mean power ranking. And then I'm going to try and smish them together. So I'm going to do the regions individually, and I'm also going to do the regions as a whole. Like, I'm going to do the entire league and try and get it all together. I don't know how that's going to work, but we'll figure it out. So let's start. Where do we start? Chat, do I start with APAC, which is the shorter one? Do I start with all of the teams out in Korea and China? Or do I start with NA and all the European teams as well? Where the hell do I start with this? NA? Oh, Ray. Oh, Ray. Okay, we'll start with NA. We'll start with NA. So, I think it's quite easy to do a little bit of NA. I think there's bits of NA that are fine. I personally see NA as a four, like 3 individual tiers per se. So if we grab one of these tier breaks and whack them there, we grab another tier break and we take it towards the top. This is basically NA. NA is going to look something like this, and I think the same for what's it called? Oh, not 3. Goodness me. No. Why is it looking so weird? What has happened? Oh, it's botched. Oh, it's botched my tier breaks. Oh, that is very sad. Okay, try again. We'll just do an A. We'll just start with an A before anything gets broken. Okay. So in North America, I think it's fair to say that London are at the bottom. Okay, so I personally don't think that London are going to be as absolutely terrible as they were last year. So London were almost, if Valiant didn't exist, the worst team in the league last year. I think Vancouver was slightly worse than them, to be perfectly honest, but they were both absolutely horrendous. I think London have made some really worthwhile upgrades. I think that roster looks much better, but I think that the entire league has just leapfrogged in quality so much that they're still going to be pinned to the bottom. Even with Admiral partnering up with Landon in that backline now, which is, in my opinion, still an upgrade over Kellex and Ripper, I think that Sparker, Backbone, and Shax is a really pretty decent DPS line. I'm happy with that, but it just gets eclipsed by everyone else. I don't even really have to explain why they're down here. Like, unfortunately, London are down here. I think they'll get more than 1 win this season. I think they might end up with 4, maybe, if they're lucky, 4 or 5. But if this team makes a single tournament in the mid-season, I think you're fine. If they can make a single one of the smaller tournaments over the course of the year, they've done okay. This is a rebuild year for London. Let's hope they can do something with it. Okay, I'm about to shock people. Because if you guys have been following the Overwatch League, also, there's Jay. Jay, you legend. Thank you for the 12 months. Welcome to Master. We appreciate that. I haven't got to Toronto yet, so you hold on out. It's okay. None of this is all like basically done up here, so you're fine. You're okay. And yes, you are a Master. Welcome to Master. So London at the bottom. If you guys have been looking at anyone else's tier lists, you'll see lots of people putting Vancouver Titans just above London Spitfire. You're in for a shock, because I am quite literally here to upset everybody. I think Paris Eternal are down here this year. And I'm going to explain why. I have never bought into the idea that Paris Eternal are a good team. Never. They were when they had the Dallas Fuel roster back in 2020, but since then, last year, they got 8 wins, and 4 of them came from London and Vancouver. That is basically 50% of their win rate came from those teams. You take that away, and they're underneath Florida. You know? They're very low down. They had some pretty freak good wins. They did. They actually did. They beat Gladiators. They beat Dallas in some pretty fine form, actually. But they lost some of the key components of the team that I thought helped them do that. Like, Only God should still be on this team. If Only God was still on this team, I'd feel much, much better about them. But frankly, I don't. He's not there, and I don't feel better about them. I think Glister's great, but Glister wasn't even able to perform to his fullest on Shock. At this point, I think that, you know, Glister Naga isn't enough to carry you through in this game. And I don't think that Dan is as good as a lot of the tanks that are, like, in teams above him. I think Vestola's good, but I don't think Vestola's as good at doing that. And now from playing Overwatch 2, we see that the impact that supports have been having, how easy it is for them to get run over by good DPS lines. In Overwatch 1, you know, Khan in the backline was able to do more work, you know? Absolutely was able to do more work, do a lot more healing. His anti-nades were very, very vital. His sleep darts are, and his sleep darts are still going to be vital. Ana and Lucio is probably going to be the meta heading into Thursday, so we'll see how that goes. But I simply think that he's going to get absolutely ganked on by superior DPS talents above him. And I don't see the season going as well for Paris. I am a Paris hater. I am a Paris hater. And I don't care. And the thing is, I'm about to upset more people, and I don't even care. I am going to upset so many people. It's actually going to be horrific, but here with me, you gotta, listen, you gotta, what's the word I'm looking for here? You've got to make some really spicy hot takes, you know, if you want to be right. Because let's be real, every single, like, power ranking tier list that is ever made is always wrong. You know, because people can't predict the hot takes. People can't predict when a terrible team is going to be better or when a great team, supposedly on paper, is going to be bad, okay? I'm about to predict a great team on paper that's going to be bad and a terrible team that's going to be good. Starting with this, Boston Uprising, you are staying there. They're staying there. I don't think Boston Uprising go any higher than here, okay? I think that this team has ultimately the most potential to implode than any other team I've seen. This team is probably going to implode. I think that Striker could leave the team again. I think he could do another mid-season retirement. Like, Striker is incredibly talented, and it makes this DPS line excellent. But the fact of the matter is I don't think that quality on its own is enough. I think MCD is great on the Ana, probably going to be fine. I think Faith's okay on Lucio. I think that'll be fine going into the season. You know, and then you've got, what is it? It's Marvel, it's Alan Punk. They've got some great tank talent in there, you know? But again, Boston have a lot of cooks in the kitchen, and I said this in my team preview, and I am not confident in this team. I just think if I'm going to take a shot at a team that's going to underperform the expectations, Boston are a perfect candidate for it. And I was watching Custer's stream yesterday. I was looking at Custer's preds. Custer went in there, and you know what Custer said? He almost did the Titans over Boston. No, I think he did in the end. I think he did a 3-2. I think he leaned towards the Titans. And I think that says something. I think that this team is going to implode. No one can argue against me unless you want to. I have no faith in Boston. No faith. And you know who I do have faith in? I have faith in the Vancouver Titans to be better than the Boston Uprising. I think that this team is going to overperform what everyone is saying of them. I think it is fair to be a Vancouver hater after the way that their organization treated their old runaway players. I think it is also fair to sit there and look at the roster and be very concerned about it. But you know what? I look at this roster and I'm like, there's some good stuff in here. There's some really good stuff in here. And I think it's enough to do bits. I think that this is the kind of team that, who do I liken it to in years gone by? Who the hell do I liken it? I think I kind of liken this team to Atlanta. You know, Atlanta last year, in my opinion, I don't think people thought they were going to be a top tier force, but I think people thought that they were going to be hovering, you know, and then, you know, a lot of young talent on that team, you know, some really good pieces, some pieces that were kind of like unknowns, and they ended up storming up the league. I don't think Vancouver are going to storm up the league, but I think they've got some brilliant pieces on the team that are enough to carry them through. I think Aspire Shockwave is an absolutely cracked DPS line. And I genuinely believe that if we're going into a Genji Soldier meta, You know, if those are the two heroes that are going to be played going into the next couple of weeks, then I could entirely see an Aspire Legs and a Shockwave Genji kind of like molding people. I really could. I'm a fan. I think, yes, I think you have a massive hole where like False doesn't actually have like a main tank to back him up, but I think you have a very stable backline. I think Skyrip is good. I think the Master is excellent. You know, Master Lucio is good. It's fine. It's better than the Lucios below him. You know, Master Lucio is definitely better than Faith. It's definitely better than Dredro, and it's definitely better than Admiral. So good, really, really good. You know, I have hope. I have Vancouver Titans hopium, and I can't believe that I do. It is the stupidest hopium in the world, but I have it. And I think this team is probably going to win a lot more games. I don't think it breaks into like this mid-tier, but I think that Vancouver, in a good meta, could see themselves ending up in one of the tournaments this season. I genuinely do. I think there's enough teams above them that are likely to struggle, where I think it's fine. I think it's okay. Okay, moving on. There's some difficult stuff here because I'm going to put three teams in this sort of region. And I think 4 teams in this sort of region. And I think this is where I'm going to start to struggle. This was easy for me. I've thought about this a little bit. I thought this was quite easy for me. This is a little bit harder. Okay. The bottom 4 used to be a bottom 5, but I've since been reading more about Florida. Since I did their team preview, they picked up Exy. They let Mirror go. They now have a DPS line in Hydron and Exy, which I would call, you know, like a caliber above like the bottom 4 teams. I do think that it's excellent. They have some really, really good tank talent. I've watched one of their like 5v5 scrims on workshop mode, which was excellent. I'm a big fan of Hydron. I think that Kariv is an excellent pickup in terms of like what he can bring to the team if they need him to fill any roles in the support category. I think that's great. Obviously, you've got Samajed back there. Animo is very experienced. You know, I have a sneaky suspicion that Florida are a lot better than people are going to give them credit for. And it's why I think that they deserve to be in this middle category. I think they easily deserve to be in this middle category. I think the bottom of the middle category is the hard part because there's arguments for New York, there's arguments for Washington, there's arguments for Toronto. So the arguments for all of them is like that Washington, like Boston, were an absolute dumpster fire last year of talent that literally got thrown into like a sewage facility. They were terrible. They really did not live up to the hype. And unfortunately, I have no faith in Washington's coaching staff. I could see that Mag in their tank, even though he had massive like talent coming out of contenders, I could see him just being a flop, you know, sort of like a Raw, because Raw had massive talent coming out of contenders onto Glads and ended up being boo. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's a thing. Decay sometimes just doesn't want to play certain heroes, and I've said this before on stream. I think that Decay is a liability. I think that he cannot be trusted. I think that his head is bigger than the team. And I think that that is a problem. Unfortunately, that is a problem. You know, I think Happy could step in. Happy Assassin could be good. Like a Happy Soldier, Assassin, Genji would be great. But I don't think there's a way that Decay doesn't start on this team. And that's part of the problem. Not the DPS. Their support line as well just isn't finished. Like Krillin and, oh God, who's the other one? Opener. Krillin and Opener. I don't think that's particularly good. It's definitely not better than the 3 teams above them, in my opinion, not until Vigilante comes onto the roster when he turns of age. So I'm really low on Justice. I think, I said it in my team preview, but I think Justice are a team that will, if they're going to go up, they're going to do it later in the season, not at the beginning. So that's what I think about Justice, but I don't think that they sit quite here. Toronto are an exciting prospect. Who did Toronto have? Toronto's DPS line is Finale Hisu, I think. Like, Finale Hisu's pretty good. Like, it is pretty good. It's not, you know, if Although was there from O2 Blast, then I'd be feeling a bit better. But I think Although is in Visa Hell, I'm aware of, or something like that. There's something wrong. He's not actually with the team, so I don't know if he's going to be playing. The backline is great. Like, Chorong on Twilight is good. I've watched a lot of Chorong Lucio. I do think that this Toronto backline it could be top tier. It could be really, really top tier. And I know that people are very low on Hopper and Muse in places. Like, people think that Hopper is a wash-up that's been changing team, like, more than, I don't know, a cat has lives, but, like, I like him. I think the Hopper did pretty exceptionally well last year when he was drafted onto Fusion at the last minute. And I think the Hopper has extremely high highs, but can be a liability. I think the Muse's Reinhardt wasn't bad. Contrary to what a lot of people have said about Muse, where they've been like, Muse Reinhardt equal bad. Muse Reinhardt don't equal. Muse Reinhardt not top tier, but Muse Reinhardt is never bad. Man's mechanically fine. Winston, good. Could he play the Doomfist? I could see him being able to play the Doomfist. Where Muse shines is on the on your dive heroes, you know. And if we're looking at Doomfist or Winston, oh, here's something random, by the way. Wrecking Ball won't actually be in the opening weekend of the Overwatch League because there's a bug to the beta. So you know, I like the tank line. I also think Toronto's tank line is better than New York's tank line, and I think that it could be better than Mag and Kalios below them, potentially. It's difficult. It's difficult with these two teams because it really does, like, call into question, what do you value more? Do you value DPS talent more? Do you value team working more? Or do you value your backline more? I think if I'm thinking about how Overwatch 2 functions now, having played it, I do think that having DPS talent is very, very important. I think clearly that is a very, very major factor. But I just also think that if you're like, say, Krillin and Twilight, I think Twilight on the Ana is going to be able to do like a whip shot with a sleep dart, you know, take the Genji, you know, out of the air in a nano blade and just cancel out the entire ultimate, basically. I could totally see that being a thing. You know, whereas Krillin on the other side, I just can't see it. I think that I think that Toronto maybe just about have enough firepower in DPS. I trust Hisu. I think Hisu's good. I think they have enough firepower in DPS and enough of a strategy and enough good experienced players to make them a better team than Washington. However, now that I'm saying this, I think that it is definitely fair for me to put New York here. New York do not have enough tank backup. I know that they have Vulcan. I know they signed a 6th player, but he's not Korean. The entire rest of the team is Korean. He's not going to play. Like, he is a show player. Pretty sure that is a show pickup, you know, just to fill out the requirements. This is basically a 5-man roster. They have double flex support. If Lucio is going to be a mainstay in Overwatch 2, especially from the beginning, a Lucio player is critical to success. It is simply critical to success. Now, while Kellen is a main tank and can play the Reinhardt, that is fine. That's good. Excellent. He was a good pickup. I am concerned that, you know, if we head into like the dive tank meta, like, you know, Doomfists, Winstons, etc., like Divas in terms of the off tanks, I'm very concerned at whether he's going to be able to pick that up. You know, I haven't heard a lot of good things. I've heard the stock exchange, the Scrimbuck stock exchange is pretty low on New York, and unfortunately, I am also too. And while I think that Yaki and Flora are an excellent DPS duo, I do think that they have too many gaps in terms of their hero pool. So here's the thing, right? You say you take Chorong off of Defiant and put him on New York. Say you then take a player like Pelican. I know Pelican is massively good. And you put him on New York to fill in some of the gaps. New York go up immediately a few spaces. Then you give them an off tank, so maybe Gargoyle, they go up again. All like those 3 pickups alone would put New York up for me, but right now I think that the roster is too small. I think there's so much variance going on at the moment. I just don't think that this team has enough pieces to do everything. And I've been listening to the Scrimbuck Stock Exchange too much, and people are low on them, so I trust what people have seen. I think if people think that New York are going to be this bad, then we'll put them down here for now. Anywho, I think the question is, how high do I put Florida? Do I let Florida sit above Washington and Toronto? And do I let Washington even languish down here? Because this feels harsh. This does feel very harsh. And is there a question to be brought in with Houston? You know what? Maybe we do the top 2 teams. Or should I? What do you think, chat? Shall I keep working my way up? or should I do the top couple of teams and try and sandwich in and figure out like who's best? Because I've got a pretty good idea of what's happening around this point, around the top of North America, but I don't have a, you know, like I'm still, the jury's out on what's going to happen in the middle. You know, this middle of the pack area is going to be pretty rough to call. I'm not sure how I feel about it. You know what I'm saying? I guess if I'm bringing Houston into the mix, right? What do Houston have? Houston have an absolutely cracked DPS line. Merit plus Pelican. You can always shuffle after. I could. I think we'll work up. We'll work our way up. I think that Merit, Pelican, and Dante is an excellent and very well-rounded DPS line. I think that Piggy is a little bit stranded on tank on their own, but I think that Piggy will probably be fine. But again, Lastro and Iris are the backline, and neither of them play Lucio. Like, how high do I need the Lucio stock to be? Because without a Lucio player, that's not particularly poggers, is it? I'm not here for that. I'm really not here for that. So I am a little bit worried about Houston, but again, I've just been like honking on about DPS talent. I just think that Houston have it in spades. I can't believe I'm doing this, but I think I'm going to leave it like this. There is a massive argument to be made to put Washington above Toronto. But I think I think much like what I've done with Boston and the absolute tragedy that I've done to Boston, I do think that Boston are going to implode, and I think that Washington, I think that they also may implode. I think that there are fundamental problems with this team, especially in the backline. I don't think the backline is going to be able to defend themselves from the onslaught, and I think it's going to be a lot of close games with the Justice where they're not going to be able to keep their, you know, their backline alive as well as we think. So, yeah, I think I'm going to leave Washington there. I think I'm going to let them sit here, just below midway, because technically there's 13 teams in the West, so you've basically got 6, then 6, and then a right in the middle. I think that there's an excellent argument to be made for Toronto going above Florida. I really do. Like, I think that Toronto's backline is just that good. I do. I think it's better than Florida's, but at the same time, I just think that Florida, first of all, once again, I go to the Scrimbuck Stock Exchange, where we find out that actually Florida are performing in scrims. I think that Hydron is absolutely cracked, and I also believe that Xe is a really good pickup. I think that Xe could be very, very strong. And unfortunately, I do think that Xe and Hydron are a better DPS duo than Aldo and Hisu at their strongest, and Finale Hisu. I simply do not think that Toronto have enough firepower up front to be able to get the job done. I'm also very confident in the backline of Florida. I'm very happy with Kariv and Sir Majed and Arnamo. I'm very happy with that. They have a Lucio player. And as for Someone and Adam, I think Someone and Adam are excellent. I'm a very big fan of Someone, having watched the VODs. That guy is mechanically skilled. So I'm gonna keep Toronto there. I'm going to keep Toronto in this middle. I think that Toronto have ample opportunity to go upwards. I really do. I think if Toronto's DPS pop off, like they can do, like Hisu is cracked, like I think that they can be a much better team. But for now, I'm going to take a punt on Florida, and I'm going to leave Florida there. I think I'm happy to put Florida there. Would I put Florida above Houston? No, I don't think I can. I think this year, Houston are very much looking like a gatekeeper team. Houston, and here's the thing, right, lads, believe me, Houston go down if it's not for Pelican team. I just witted on about the importance of a Lucio. Well, this is the thing, it's the importance of a Lucio player. Nah, maybe Houston do come down. Is Pelican enough? Is Pelican enough to be able to carry this team to glory? You know? Pelican can do some absolutely nutty things. Like, he really can, but is Pelican enough to be able to push a Houston team with no Lucio player and no main tank player above some of these other teams? I would still argue it to an extent, yes, but I'm starting to get worried, man. How am I letting Florida get this high? Florida are getting so high up in this leaderboard, man. Oh, somebody's got to pull them down. It's got to be me. What the flipping heck do I do about Houston? What do I do with the Houston Outlaws, man? What do I do with this team? I think with the benefit of the doubt, we know that Lucio is strong right now, but that might not be the case forever. We could see Moira becoming a thing again. You know, maybe Mercy makes a big old-fashioned comeback, you know? Maybe we see some Zenny. Even then, though, what double flex support backline is going to be undivable? Like, the fact of the matter is you're looking at double flex support being favored by those two teams specifically. What is the difference in my head that makes Houston better than Toronto? What is it? And Florida. What gives them the right to be up here? I think the first aspect is Piggy and the second aspect is Pelican. But reasonably, I could put Houston there. Like, they really could be. They could be much further away. They could be way further off the pace than I think. The other problem is the Scrimbuck Stock Exchange says that Houston have fallen off, but you know what? I'm not gonna believe it. I'm gonna leave Houston here, and I'm gonna leave Houston there because of one. I'm gonna leave them there because of Pelican. Pelican, that DPS line is very, very important. I think that they will be absolutely fine. I think that Lastro is probably going to end up picking up the Lucio, and you're going to have Iris picking up the other main supports, the other flex supports, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I think this might be a bot. I'll go back and look at this in a second. But I think this is how we're going to leave it for now. Right. Don't be mad. I think this is what I'm looking at for NA. I think this is how I see NA. Let me explain Shock. I think that Shock is still a cut above. I think that Shock's rookies and what I've seen of them are just absolutely incredible. I think that Krusty could work the magic again from the main coach role. I think that Shock have ample opportunity to fight for the top of NA. They have enough pedigree to do it. They have enough talent to do it. I think if what I've heard from the Scrimbuck Stock Exchange about Proper is true, then I think that Proper really, really could carry this team to greatness. In my opinion, there is no way that Shock go lower than 4. However, Violet Lucio is not it, Chief. No main tank is not it, Chief. They sit there above Houston with a very similar looking roster based on talent alone. Based on the fact that I believe in their talent more than I believe in Houston's. And even then, Piggy's probably better than Kaluge. So really, are Shock safe in 4th? This is nuts. This is nuts. This is honestly nuts. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna leave Shock there. I think that Proper is better than Pelican. And I'm also going to leave Atlanta here. I think that Atlanta deserve to be here. I think Atlanta should be respected. I think that the damage duo that they're looking at this year is nuts. I think that Venom and Kai are great. The other one, who else did they bring in? Oh, poo. Who else did... They've got Speedily, I know, waiting to come in. But who the hell else did Atlanta Reign bring in? Oh, name escapes me, fam. All these difficult decisions tell me this is likely to be a good season. The thing is, you're going to see so much change in it as well, Matt. Like, there's no way that all of these things that I've said stay the same. No way. Oh, Nero. Yeah. No, the DPS line for Atlanta is pretty stacked, man. And again, I know that I've heard, like, questions about OG and Ultraviolet in their backline, like, performing to the best of their ability, but I don't know, fam. I think that having a dedicated Lucio player is vital. And I think that these two players are probably on some of their comfort picks. So I'm very, very happy with Atlanta being here. I think the Gator and Hawk will be absolutely fine on most of the tanks. I don't think they're top tier tanks, but I do think that they're excellent enough. Atlanta's coaching has proven to be excellent. Yeah, Atlanta stay here. But do I put Atlanta in this tier or this tier? That's the question. Are Atlanta good enough to be hanging with these two boys, or do we think that Atlanta are the best of the rest? Because I think there's a significant argument for Atlanta to be there, but now we're going to keep them there. I will explain the top two in NA. What do I do? See, that's my heart, and that's my head. Right? My heart is Gladiators being at the top, because I think the Gladiators have the most stacked roster in the league. But my question marks, I said in my team preview about them, about, you know, whether Arns and Patipan pop off, about what happens with the coaching staff, you know, I do have questions. But I still think that they have enough quality to be able to see themselves through to a top tier spot. Like, Gladiators at lowest for me is there. Or there. Gladiators shouldn't be lower than that. If Shock pop off to the caliber that they can be, Shock will be better than Gladiators. And with the coaching. Because they simply have so much rookie, absolute god tier talent. But I think Gladiators could be top this season. But I'm going to put them there, and I'm going to put Fuel top. Because I think that Fuel simply have a recipe for success. I think that it's really important in this season that you have connections and you have teammates that you already know very, very well with synergy. I think that Fuel showed time and time again that even with limited options, they were able to get themselves out of corners and be incredibly competitive. And I think with how quickly this game is probably going to evolve and how little we know, you know, about what the actual inside metas are potentially, I think Fuel are probably gonna pick things up faster. I've also heard once again on the Scrimbuck Stock Exchange that the Dallas Fuel are kind of pioneering the way forward. So we're looking at a Doom Genji meta. I mean, okay, here's a funny thing. What if Sparkle plays tank? What if Sparkle? No, but Sparkle Genji. Oh, Harmbin can play Doom. Anyway, look, point is, I'm gonna be safe, and I'm gonna put Dallas at the top of NA. I think it's fair to put Dallas at the top. I don't think I can put Dallas any higher. Well, I can't put them any higher. I don't think I can put Gladiators on top. I have to be reasonable. I do think Gladiators are better than Atlanta, though. I like, they saw one of their coaches. They have a better DPS line in theory. Their back line is better, and their tank line is also better. Like, Gladiators should be a tour de force this season. All right, I want to return to this very quickly. I'm happy with that, and I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. But this is really, really murky water for me. I think that if Houston performed to the potential, then they probably are better than Florida and Toronto. Just on damage dealers alone, because there's no way that this DPS line is worse than these two. But on the other hand, these two teams having good backlines is so important. But I just don't think that the backlines are as important at the moment. Honestly, I think I want to do that. I think my hot take is that Florida are better than everyone's giving them credit for, and I think that Houston are going to face some problems without a proper Lucio player. Also, much like Justice and much like Boston, I am not convinced by the organization of the Houston Outlaws to be able to put together a competent roster and to have them perform at the ability that they can. I'm not worried about the DPS component, but the rest of it isn't it. I don't think Pelican's Genji is better either than any of the Genjis above here. It could be, actually. Oh, it could be. Yeah, I'm going to leave it like that. That's North America. You're welcome. I have some very, very big hot takes in there. And I can't wait to see myself get ragged for them, but that's fine. The East is far, far easier, but meshing them together is going to be hard, so bear with me a second. Okay, I think that the East looks like this. No, not like that. Don't worry about it. Starting from the bottom, I am very easily willing to put like Valiant back at the bottom. I think the Valiant have so many unproven pieces now that the rest of their roster has been announced that it's impossible for me to put them any higher. For example, I'm pretty sure that they've got a DPS player in Becky playing main support or playing support with Coldest and Lengsa. Okay, sure, that's fine, I guess. Sashin hasn't played tank since 2020. Is this guy really gonna be like a good tank? Is he gonna be better than Rio and Krong? No, I don't think so. And I love Dia on the DPS line. Apparently Haker's all right. Easy Han is good. Innovation's good. I think it should be Innovation and Dia really more than else. But like this screams to me too many cooks in the kitchen, especially like it's top loaded. There's a lot of DPS talent here, and not enough good tank. And even then, I don't think the DPS talent is as good as the level that Develop could be playing at Guangzhou with Eileen. Develop and Eileen could be pretty stacked, you know? Easily, though, this is where I see this. And I did originally have another tier break in for APAC at the top, but I have changed my mind. Because I think that what's happened to Chengdu is a benefit for a lot of teams. I'm just going to do this really quickly. Shanghai are still the best team in the world, and they have every chance to succeed. Every single chance. I think if Shanghai flop this season, that is the biggest most underwhelming thing I think I'll ever see from that team. They are stacked. Now, before, I would have had Chengdu here. I thought that Aprita and Leave was good enough to be here. I thought that having Eveltal and Farway on the bench was good enough to be there. But no Eveltal, no Farway, no Aprita. They get rid of all of them. They sign in another tank who's probably not going to play. I can't even remember the name of the tank. In fact, let's go find out. Hold on. Chengdu. Let's find out Chengdu's other tank. So for some background knowledge, by the way, to the people that don't know, Chengdu Hunter's parent organization basically imploded a little bit. They didn't have enough money. And obviously when you've got Leave on the team, aka last year's MVP, that's a lot of money. So there was a lot of discussion about the idea that Leave has not left. You know what I mean? And instead has stayed. But at the cost of 3 players. 2 support players who are surplus to requirements, in my opinion, even though Valtal is better than Nisha. And a very, very interesting rookie in Aprita. So in order to keep Leave, they get rid of those 3 players and they keep Leave. All right, fine. They signed Daisy, or Daisy, however they want to say it, okay, who is playing tank, allegedly, for them. I can tell you this now from the Wikipedia page that I'm looking at. Daisy had literally just joined Team Chaser and instead gets signed to the main roster. He must have been signed as an off tank, obviously, for very little cash. I can imagine that he's not, on the wage bill very, very high. Fair enough. That makes perfect sense. And it's going to be a 5-man roster for Chengdu. In my chat, again, Ray saying Chengdu was so stacked and praised and dropped faster than Icarus, it was an absolute show. But here's the thing, they kept Leave. I think Leave and Jinmu are still an absolutely incredible DPS line. Not as good as Leave and Aprita in certain metas, but it's still good, Jinmu, again, playing Genji, while Leave plays Soldier, is good. It's very good, Nisha, Lucio, it's not Veltal. Again, I think Veltal was really, really good. It's just a shame that he had so many problems in commitment. I think Gargar's great, but I don't think Gargar can do everything. And I think Monk is cracked. So, look, this team is still, in my opinion, top 3. I just don't think it deserves second spot now. I think I have to, give that to Soul. I think that Soul's roster is kind of nuts. I can't remember who Soul signed in there. What's it called? In their main support slot. But I was a big fan. I think it was Vindime. I think that Soul have got a really, really competent main support set in there this time. And then they've still got creative in there, and I think creative is great. I think Prophet, Stalker, and Fitz is just one of the best DPS lines in the league, easily. And I think that Smurf can do it. I think that Smurf. I have more confidence in Smurf to be able to pick up every single tank that I do in Piggy, than I do in Kellen, than I do in False, and any other team that's running one main tank. I'm much, much higher Soul Dynasty. So Soul Dynasty are second to me. Now, hold on, let's just read chat real quick. Was a real shame for the Hunters, though. At least they kept them. Yes, they're still going to be competitive. And the question really is that when they lose those players, are they still better than the Hangzhou and Philadelphia, who, Philadelphia arguably have a worse roster than last year, bless them, and Spark have a better roster but could shit the bed. My argument is this: Spark, I don't trust Spark. Doesn't matter how cracked Alpha Yi and Shy are in their DPS line, I think that Liga hasn't had a chance to show himself off. I think Benar is even though I like him. I think Gushue's fine, but I don't think Gushue's going to pick up the tank role as well as everyone thinks. And then I can't even remember the supports. God, I think I did their team preview pretty late on as well, but I just cannot remember the last of their support line. Irony and Super Rich. Okay, no, right. Okay, so Irony and Super Rich are pretty good. They really, really are. Irony and Super Rich are probably better than Fixer and Aim God. But at the same time, I think MN3, Zest, and Carpe is pro. And this is really hard for me to say because I think that Shy is absolutely incredible. I think the Pineapple's really good, and I think the Alpha Yi is really good. But I actually do think that Fusion probably have a better DPS line. And now that they signed Belos Ray as well from, T1, and they have Fury, I think this team is better than Hangzhou. It's just a shame that the backline isn't as good. But I still think... Oh, well, actually... There is now a case for Fusion to go into third. Because of the tank flexibility, I think there's a case for Fusion to go third. But the backline disparity, again, it's the same over here, isn't it? There's always a case for, for over here, but the backline disparity is just such a large gap to cover. Yeah, nah, Fusion definitely up there, easily. I would like to put Fusion higher. I would like to believe that Fixer and Aim God are going to perform. I truly do think that MN3 and Zest could be better than Leave and Jinmu. And I say that more so because of the Zest portion. I think that Jinmu brings down the Chengdu Hunters. Because I think Jinmu is still incredible, but I think that Jinmu isn't. I think that Jinmu Leave is sort of like the same ranking as MN3 and Zest, but I think it's weighted differently. So like you got Leave up there, Jinmu there, and then you've got MN3 and Zest about there kind of thing. So it kind of makes up for it. And then the tank department, just no, I'm not going to. I think Fusion are going to be good, and I think that Fusion could go higher if one of these teams implodes. And look, let's be real, it's Soul Dynasty. Soul Dynasty can implode at any moment, at any fucking waking moment, Well, that is true for the backline, but we don't know the highs yet. There's still a chance they could be a pretty good support line. But of course, we won't know until we see them, which is now on May 20th, which is sad, but that's what it is. I think I'm happy to leave this here. I think I'm going to leave this here. I think that the main change in APAC for me is this because of Chengdu, but I think if Chengdu lose Leave, Chengdu are here. That's my genuine thought. I think if Chengdu lost Leave, Chengdu are down there. But they haven't lost Leave. I think Leave is still around, and I think that these three teams are going to be closely contested now. Maybe even these four. Like, APAC, don't like, here's the thing. Don't get me wrong. APAC is still a much more competitive region than it was. Easily. But at the same time, I think that this is probably about right? Seoul could have Shanghai's team and still have the chance to soul it all up. It's their curse. Yeah, honestly, I mean, I'm much more confident in this Seoul team than I have been in a long time, though. But they could soul it up. They could do a Seoul Dynasty. Okay. Here's the next thing. We're gonna put them together. I'm gonna try and put them together. I don't know how, but I'm gonna put them together. Shit. All right, well, let's start with this first. I'm gonna start from the bottom and work my way up. I don't know. Let's whack some tier breaks in just so that I know I'm like a top 4, a middle pack, or we'll have an upper and a lower middle pack, and then we'll have bottom lot. So the bottom lot are yep, definitely in the bottom, definitely somewhere down here. You guys can go. You can come down. You can go into there. You can go into there. Is that a reasonable bottom 5? Yeah, probably. I'll fix it later. You can definitely come down here. You can go up there. You can go up there. You can go up there. You come down there. You go up there. It's where it gets hard, you know? This is where it gets really difficult. Okay, anyway, right, I've got some tiers. Bottom. Do I think the Spitfire are going to be worse than Valiant? Yes. I actually do think that Valiant have got some talent in that. Do I think that Valiant can be better than Paris? No. Okay. Do I think Paris are better than Guangzhou? Maybe. Yes. And then that's the same. I've been really brutal to London, and I'm still very high on the Vancouver Titans. I'm very low on Boston, but I don't care. Moving on. Again, I'm going to go from the top. That makes sense to me. Apart from that's wrong now. I think this is a top 4, to be honest, this season. I've seen people still putting Chengdu like up there. I don't think Chengdu are up there. I don't think that they're there anymore. I think that Chengdu have had 3 opportunities to close out something last year and were unable to do it with a roster that was massively talented. You know? They lost to a Gladiators team that arguably didn't have as much talent as they did. And Gladiators were stacked last year. So, yep, yep. I think when we're merging APAC together, okay, Florida are definitely too high. I really do think that there is a massive disparity difference with APAC. I really do think that APAC have got some better teams. I think that Fusion could be better than some of these teams down here. God, this is hard. Holy shit, this is hard. Fuck. Okay. All right. Let's work our way up again. New York, you stay. Spark and Fusion, I need to talk about whether they come somewhere down here. Like, Spark, if Spark implodes, Spark could be anywhere down, like, towards the bottom, like, easily. But Spark still have enough raw talent that as long as they don't fuck it up, puts them above Justice. Like, here's the thing, right? I know that we're looking at Decay and Assassin, or Happy and Decay, right? Or Happy and Assassin in the Washington Justice. That is cracked. But all of this, apart from Toronto, is also cracked. Like, all of these teams have DPS lines that could be running for the top. Like, genuinely. I think I put Hangzhou above Defiant as well. And I do think Defiant are good. I just don't think. I think Spark are better. Do I think Spark get past Houston? Both of these teams are giving me so many reasons not to trust them. I don't know. I think one thing I will do, though, is I think I'll bring Fusion down into this mid-tier. I still think the Fusion are going to be fine. Because of their DPS line. And because I'm far more certain about the fact that their backline is covered and their tank line is covered. I don't think that... Look, you can ouch me all you like, but I think the Fusion making top 8 is generous to them. I think I have been generous to put Fusion in the top 8. I do think that Fusion are better than Toronto. I do think that they're better than Washington and New York. I've said they're better than Spark. I think that they probably do. I think that Fury is better than Piggy. That alone is enough. And even though the Outlaws have like a double flex support backline, and even though I like Lastro and I like Iris more than Aim God, I think that having Fixer on the main support is more important, and I'm a big fan of Fixer. And then the DPS lane is straight up the same, if not better, than Houston. I think that Zest could be as good as Pelican if he wants to be. I've watched a lot of Zest Genji. Zest Genji is good. It's also better than Florida, and I'm not putting Florida back below Houston because I've committed to it. I'm happy with Florida being better than Houston. I believe that they might be. Like, there's definitely some teams that I've put in here to overperform. This is one of them. This is one of them. This is probably one of them. But it is what it is. I'm happy with how I've integrated this bottom half. What do we think, chat? Is there anyone you think I've put too high and anyone you think I've put too low in this bit? But let me just do the top first. That stays as it is. It's just these three. Where does San Francisco go around Seoul and Chengdu? Do I think that San Francisco are a better Seoul dynasty? Or even a better Chengdu for that matter? I don't think so. Well, actually, no, they could be. They could be better than Chengdu. Because again, Proper and Kilo and Sam it could be better than Leave and Jinmu because they just don't have the cover anymore. And then Kaluj, pretty highly rated. But they don't, I mean, technically, actually, do have an off tank if you're Chengdu. And then the back lines, Finn and Monk are absolutely great. Violet Lucio versus Nisha Lucio, though. Also, I think, okay. I think that based on the fact that San Francisco have a great coaching staff, excellent DPS cover, and some very reliable backline options, even though Violet isn't a main support, I think Violet could probably pick up Lucio well enough. Now, let's be real, it's not Violet Lucio from last year. He has going to have been grinding. No, this kid's going to have been grinding for so long now, and people can learn things. Krusty as well as coach. I'm gonna put San Francisco Shock above the Chengdu Hunters. Maybe that's San Francisco Copium. Maybe I'm an absolute moron, but I think that San Francisco are probably going to be better than Chengdu. If the DPS line pop off to the level I think they will. And yet, I still think that the well-rounded roster that Seoul have built, minus an off tank, but then San Francisco only have one tank as well, has enough talent to do it. Even then, Creative isn't as good as Violet or Finn. He's pretty sick. And Vindime is good. Vindime is a good main support. And the poetic. Can you imagine the poetry? Can you imagine the absolute poetry of Seoul versus San Francisco in one of the mid-season tournaments? Okay, like in the mid-season madness. Okay, and Smurf comes up against his old team. Okay, and they just dunk on them. I could see it. I can see that happening. I think this is the year for Profit and Fitz to be absolutely disgusting, to the point where I'm almost tempted to put Atlanta underneath them and pull Atlanta out of this top tier category, which I think I'm going to do. I think I took Atlanta out of the gate. Yeah, Atlanta aren't in the top tier of NA. I don't think I can put them in the top tier of the overall league. Chat, what do you think? Ray, what do you think? Somebody say something. I don't even mind if you just meme on me. What do you think? I think there is a very reasonable argument that Seoul Dynasty could be the fourth best team in the league. I think that is a very reasonable argument. I think that Proper and Fits are good enough that is a reasonable argument. I also think that their backline is far more reliable at this current point in time. I think that creative is proven, and I think that Vindime is going to mesh in far, far greater than OG may do. And even though Atlanta have some great tanks, right? And here's the thing, don't get me wrong, Gator and Hawk are good. Gator and Hawk are excellent. But I don't think either one of Gator and Hawk are as good as Smurf. And I think that Smurf could pick it up. I'm gonna leave Seoul there. There's definitely a chance. I'm not sure about Atlanta, but I'm not actually sure about some of their teams, so I can't really talk much about them. Okay. In other news, though, Atlanta got floored by Chengdu last year, and these are basically similar teams. Like Kai and Pelican got dunked on. Am I too high on Atlanta? Like, I do think that Shock beat Chengdu. I genuinely believe that. But I don't. But at the same time, I don't think Atlanta beat Chengdu. And if I don't think Atlanta beats Chengdu, then I have to change this. And yeah, I just. Oh, no. And yeah, I just feel like, even though Atlanta have speedily coming in, probably not going to be Tracer meta, so it's probably going to be Nero and Kai. Nero, Kai, let's say Hawk plays the Doomfist. OG and Ultraviolet. I think I might be a little bit too high on Atlanta. I think I might have to bring Atlanta down a little. In both rankings. I think Shock could be better. God, this is doing my head in, squad. I know this is an absolute random ass fucking video, this one, but my God, this is doing my head in. And I think if Shock are better than Atlanta, I think Chengdu are as well. I've talked myself into it. You know what? I'm doing it. I've spoke myself into it. I think Atlanta are probably not as good as Shock. And this is all based on if Proper and Kilo pop off. All of this is based on if Proper and Kilo pop off. I am almost certain that Kaluja is going to pop off. I think Kaluja is going to be fine. I think the Kaluja could be better than Gator and Hawk. I think I've done Atlanta dirty here, but you know what? I think this is it. Right. Somebody, once again, please just tell me. Have I put someone too high? And are there people that should be higher? Are there people that should be lower? What are the problems in this list? I need to know what the people think about the problems in this list. I'm dead ass confused. I think this is where it goes. When I look through this list and I think with my gut, the team above every other team wins. For example, I think that Valiant beats Spitfire, Charge beats Valiant, Eternal beats Charge, etc., etc. Like, I don't think that Fusion beats Atlanta. I don't think Atlanta beats Chengdu. I don't think Chengdu beats Shock. I don't think Shock beats Seoul. I don't think Seoul beats Gladiators, but I don't think Gladiators beats. Yeah, I think this might be it. This feels fine to me. Yeah, you know what? You guys can give me your last rights, that's fine. Give me your last rights, but I think this is it. Yep, I'm having that. That's my preseason power rankings. What a hot ass take that is. There we go. There we go, folks, and it's the same over here. I think I'm happy with this. I think this is how it is. Once again. Oh, hey, where'd you go? Give me the source. Fine, I'll do it the fashion way. I'm gonna copy paste it. Yeah, let me put it on Twitter and have people molding. That's what I want. That's what we wanted. All right, folks. I think that's me. I genuinely think that might be it. Wow. I enjoyed that. And to everyone that's watching it, like after I've done this live on the tube, I'm really sorry if you're molding about what I've done to your team because I'm probably wrong. I think it's fair to say I'm probably wrong, but I at the same time really want to emphasize the fact that I do think that some of these teams are going to do better than they appear. Saving all power rank so I can send them on. God, I can't wait for how fucking wrong I'm gonna. But damn, I hope Gladiators perform. That would be nice. Okay then, I'm gonna leave. I've decided it's time. So I actually haven't been watching any like other power ranking. I haven't really been looking at what other people have been saying too much on it. Like, so for example, like I filmed this on Tuesday. This stream was on Tuesday, so I know that Plat Chats will be out now. I did watch Tactical Crouches. I haven't really seen many others. I haven't seen Reinforces like official ones for the Overwatch League yet, so we'll see what happens. I think I've made a couple of hot takes here that I'm very proud of. In particular, I'm very proud of the Vancouver hot take. I genuinely believe in Vancouver. I believe in Philly. And I think believing in Seoul is a hot take as well. I think me believing in Seoul is a bit of a hot take, but I'm happy to see that one through. I'm going to see that one through. I'm here for it. I'm fucking here for it. So I'm going to live with the consequence of my actions. That's fine. Thank you very much for watching. Everyone that's been watching any of these over the course of the build-up to the season, it's been a pleasure. I've had a wonderful time doing them. I am going to be doing a load of VOD reviews as the season sort of like begins. I'm also gonna be watching on Thursday. I haven't decided whether I'm gonna sit here and stream my live reaction because I can't show you the gameplay. That's co-streaming. That's only on YouTube. But I might sit here. I might stream my reactions to some of the games. We'll see how we go, and you guys can just watch it with me. You can watch me mold if Gladiators. See how we go. That's been me. That's it. I am done. Thank you so much, and I will catch you all. Goodbye.